Chinese characters, 汉字. How to learn them? Should you learn them? And can you learn them? Well, the first thing is, do you need to learn Chinese characters? Many people ask me that. Now, the answer to that really is, it depends what you want to do. If you only want to learn Mandarin up to, let's say, beginner intermediate level, then you don't necessarily need Chinese characters. You can just speak, it's fine. Because up to that level, without characters, you're okay. The problem comes once you get up to a higher level, once you get to intermediate and above. At that level, Mandarin without Chinese characters suddenly becomes meaningless. The reason for that is that Chinese consists out of very few syllables. There are quite few pronunciations available to the language. And that means that each syllable has many different characters attached to it. So for example, sh, that pronunciation has about 80 different characters attached to it, and all of them mean completely different things. And each character, like a word in English, can also mean different things as well. So you have so many meanings at some point attached to a syllable like sh, that syllable becomes meaningless. And you cannot remember a syllable with all these different meanings. In your brain it just doesn't work. What you need to remember is this character means this, and that character means that, and that character means that. And they might be all pronounced the same way, but they are different words. So once you learn more and more words, once you're getting past beginner intermediate, not knowing characters is going to slow you significantly down, and at some point pretty much stop you from getting ahead. So if you want to learn fluent Mandarin, yes, you do want to learn Chinese characters. Now, the good news is it's actually not as difficult as you might think. There are 10,000s of Chinese characters around there, but you do not need to learn all of them. As a final end game, if you know about 2,000 Chinese characters, you can pretty much follow a newspaper or read a website. So around that area, you are fine. And once you are already, let's say, 500 to 1,000, you can read most common things. So it's really not as many as you might think. Chinese characters really are much easier than you think they are. And the good thing is they get easier and easier the more you learn. And that's amazing. And let me explain to you why that happens. I'm going to give you 5 reasons and 5 ways how to learn Chinese characters best. And the first one is the most important one, and these are Chinese radicals. It's a very awkward word in English. I have no idea why they're called Chinese radicals. In Chinese they're called 部首. They are not radicals, they are building blocks. So these are the building blocks that all hanzi, all Chinese characters, are made out of. There are a total of 214 of them, which sounds a lot, but only about 100 of them are very frequently used. So the others already are. You might encounter them, but really not as much. So once you have like the first 100 down, you're pretty good. Also, many of those 100 radicals, or building blocks, I hate that word radicals because it's so confusing. There's nothing radical about this thing at all. They're building blocks. Those 100 building blocks, and many of them are also characters, like for example, woman or mouth. And these are characters you're going to learn anyways because they're super important and you see them all the time. And they're also radicals, so you just learn the character and you know the radical already as well. So while you learn characters, you will learn more and more radicals. And the more of them you know, the easier it becomes to learn a Chinese character. Because at some point, you're going to not look at this picture like, you know, it's like, oh my god, this is a big thing and how I'm going to ever remember this. There's so many strokes and everything like that. It's not like that. Because you look at this, oh, this is radical, that one, plus that radical. And that's it. And that is so much easier to remember. You just remember, oh, it's this building block plus this building block. Whereas at the beginning, you think, oh my god, this is like, oh, this is, oh. So this gets much easier. So at the beginning, it's quite overwhelming because you don't know any of these radicals yet, but the more radicals you know, the easier it gets. And number 2, technology has made our life so much easier because today you don't really need to handwrite anymore. Everything goes on a PC or a mobile phone. And all for that you need to do is type in pinyin, the romanized version, and then choose the correct character. So for that, you need to be able to read characters, but you do not need to handwrite them. It's fun to learn handwriting, it helps with the reading as well, so it's not a complete useless skill, of course. However, it's really not that important. What is really important is to be able to read characters, and that's what you should focus on. So the handwriting, which was always the hardest part of the whole thing, since we have the internet, don't worry so much about it. Number 3. Immerse yourself in the Chinese characters. Have them around you wherever you are. Now, when you live in China, that's quite easy because there are Chinese characters everywhere. But if you're living outside of China, well, create the environment yourself. Post-it notes. Wherever you are, there should be a Chinese character. And whenever you see a Chinese character that you do not know, look them up through a dictionary. For example, Pleco or any other app that works, and look up every single Chinese character. One important thing. Do not look them up by copy and paste. Do handwrite them in there. Pleco has a great function for that. You look at the Chinese character, look at this, oh my god, what is this? And then you try to write it into the air until you can do it with your eyes closed. And you open your mobile phone. You go into your mobile phone, you open Pleco, go to the handwriting section, don't copy paste, and there then handwrite it. Probably by the time you try to handwrite it, you've forgotten it already. So you have to go close it again, go there, try again, and go with your hand. Until you can do it, and then open your Pleco and the handwriting function, put it in there again, and then you look it up, and it will tell you which character it is, and that way you'll remember the thing. Because if you just copy paste things, you don't really remember very much. You need to go through the character. So be surrounded by Chinese characters all the time, so you see them wherever you go. If you're outside of China, create the environment with post-it notes. Change your mobile phone to Chinese. That's a very important step. If you're in China, when you, for example, at the ATM and it lets you choose the language, well, choose Mandarin. Things like that. Immerse yourself into Chinese characters so they're around you all the time. That brings me to point number 4, and that is a big challenge, and that's pinyin. Because pinyin is so beautiful, you know, it consists out of letters and we're used to them, and we feel so comfortable around pinyin. The problem is when we keep looking at the pinyin, we never learn the characters. So stop looking at pinyin. This is something that was for me personally so difficult, because whenever I see Chinese characters there and pinyin here, I would never ever look at the characters, I just look at the pinyin, because you know, pinyin just, oh, so easy, isn't it? And now you gotta stop doing that. So you have to get rid of the pinyin. It's a very painful step. When for the first time things like you are basically getting rid of your life vest, of your life support, the thing that you're depending on when the letters disappear, you have all the characters left. It's quite scary, but it's the way to go. Stop looking at pinyin, and for me the only way to stop looking at pinyin was to get rid of it, because the moment I have one letter there, I'm just not going to look at the character. I will just look at the pinyin. So get rid of pinyin and look at only characters. And reason number 5. Now, for me, the best thing is do learn Chinese characters from the beginning. Do not wait until later when you are at beginner intermediate level and you suddenly realize, oh, I can't get ahead without learning Chinese characters. Because it is so much easier, faster and more efficient to learn a word and the character together. Then if you first learn all the words in pinyin and you know all of them, and then later you have to learn the Chinese characters for it, it's a waste of time and it's going to slow you down. So if you want to get to fluency, you should go to fluency, because anybody can get fluency in Mandarin if you do it right. Then do learn the characters and the pinyin together at the beginning, and after a while get rid of pinyin and stay characters only. And you will get used to them. I remember I was so frustrated with them, and it's like so different. All these Chinese characters. But after a while, you just gotta use them, look at them, read them, chat with them on their mobile phone, send messages, emails. You get very used to them, and then fine. All right. Chinese characters. Of course, there's also a beautiful history to it. Many people are into calligraphy. I personally never really was. There's there's many interesting stories around characters that can be also helpful to learn with, and you can make up your own stories too, is always a good idea. But in the end, if you follow the 5 steps I just told you, you're gonna do fine. Alright? I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Try